Hey everyone, I want to talk to you a little bit about the lie that time heals all wounds. That is a cliche saying that we have heard probably our whole life. Time heals all wounds. It's something that someone would say to you if you have been wounded or emotionally hurt in some way. Time heals all wounds. Give it time, you'll get over it. But that is contradictory to the Word of God. And I'm sure that many of you, like myself, can think of people who are just as bitter today over something happening as they were 30 years ago when it first happened. Time does not heal anything. We need to look to the creator of time itself, the creator of everything, God. He controls time. Time does not control God. Time does not control our feelings. And there has to be an inner working for us to be able to move on, to forgive. So if you look at some times in the Bible that God controlled time, you know, Joshua was battling and he has this great thought, this command that he gives out for the sun to be stopped in the sky so that he could have longer time to defeat his enemy. And God stops time, stops the sun in the sky, and gives Joshua a longer day to do what he needs to do. Also, Hezekiah, he is given the promise that he will live 15 more years. And God gives him the sign that that is true by turning back time. He turns back the sundial. He turns back time. So, God controls time. We also have to look to God for that healing, that forgiveness. We cannot just sit in a stationary position and think that just because the days are passing that we will get over something. And in fact, if you don't deal with something immediately, a lot of the time a root of bitterness can get a hold of you. And if you look in Hebrews chapter 12, starting at verse 14, follow peace with all men and holiness, without which no man shall see the Lord. Looking diligently lest any man fail of the grace of God, lest any root of bitterness springing up trouble you, and thereby many be defiled. Okay, so we have that root of bitterness. And when you think about a root, it's something that's down deep. It's grounded, it's rooted. And a lot of times what happens is something happens to us, maybe someone hurts us emotionally or however, and we hold on to it. And when we do that, we don't go to God immediately. Something can happen within us spiritually to where we hold on to that. And you've probably met people who are just so bitter about life and everything in general, and maybe they can't even get back to what that originated from. Maybe they don't even remember what it was, but something happened. They held on to it, and that root of bitterness just took place within their life. And, the Bible talks about forgiving others as well. If you go to Ephesians 4 and 32, actually 4 and 31, let all bitterness and wrath and anger and clamor and evil speaking be put away from you with all malice. And be ye kind one to another, tender hearted, forgiving one another, even as God for Christ's sake hath forgiven you. We have been forgiven. If we are covered in the blood of Christ, we have been forgiven. So we are commanded to forgive others. Let all that bitterness and wrath and malice be put away and forgive one another, because if we don't immediately forgive, again, that sets up that root of bitterness. We are commanded to forgive others because Christ has forgiven us. Time has no control over what we feel. We could let time pass and realize I've not let that go. I haven't healed from that wound. And a lot of times maybe we feel like we have healed from that wound, but until we go to the Lord and He really deals with us and we honestly forgive whatever it was that happened, we will be bitter. We will still have that wound. And I don't like that saying, time heals all wounds. I want to say God heals all wounds. Any kind of emotional hurt, physical hurt, any kind of wrongdoings toward us, it feels so good not to be unforgiving about that. It feels so good to look at someone who has done you wrong and say, I forgave you years ago. I hold nothing against you. And I pray that, I can show that love to everyone I come across. I pray that if I have done anything to anyone to cause harm, and I know that I have because, we've all sinned and come short of the glory of God, I pray that those things are not hurting those people anymore. I want God to heal their wounds that I may have caused. And because I don't want to hold anything against anybody, I want us all to make it to heaven. I want all our wounds to be healed. But we've got to realize time doesn't do that. Time doesn't have that power. Only God has that power. So if you are holding on to a grudge, if you're holding on to any sort of bitterness, if you are waiting on time to pass for you to get over something, go to God. Go to God and tell Him, Lord, I need this healed. I need this wound healed. I need these scars healed. I need you to do something within me that causes me not to hurt over this anymore. I want to forgive everyone. I want those to forgive me. Just go to the Lord and really pour out your heart, and He will heal all wounds.